For more, we now go live to the president's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani. Hi, Mr. Giuliani. Now, that decision to toss a Trump campaign's lawsuit challenging Pennsylvania's election results was handed down this morning. What is the Trump campaign's response, and what does this mean for President Trump overall?
Well, it doesn't really mean very much in the sense that that's a case that we were trying to get a hearing on our facts in Pennsylvania. And when the judge in the lower court refused the hearing, went to the legislature, and we got that hearing last Wednesday. So we were able to accomplish what we wanted to accomplish with that case. And now we'll have to see whether we want to appeal it to the Supreme Court, as well as the other case in Pennsylvania. The objective here is twofold. One is to get the right case to the Supreme Court, and we've got 4 or 5 of them that are headed there. And also to try to convince the legislatures that they shouldn't certify false statements. They shouldn't certify completely bogus vote counts. The vote count in Pennsylvania is somewhere about 600 to 800,000 off what actually happened. We have witnesses that can prove that there were at least 600,000 to 700,000 ballots that were put into the vote without any inspection, as the law requires. And there'd be no reason not to allow that inspection unless you were cheating. And having to make up a big gap of 800,000 votes where the president was ahead of Biden at the beginning of the night. And then, by the end, every state he was ahead in, he lost. That's uncanny. It doesn't make sense. Instead, in each one of these states, the Democrats used the same method of cheating, which was to take the mail ballots and stuff them in the ballot box and exclude the Republican inspectors so they wouldn't see what was happening. That happened in Pennsylvania. It happened in Michigan. It happened in Wisconsin. It happened in Nevada. It happened in Arizona. And it happened in Georgia. At least those 6 states. Each one, same pattern.
Now, Giuliani, you're listing off these states where it happened, but the judge was quoted saying charges require specific allegations and proof. And he said that we have neither here. So what is going on with his statement?
Well, I don't know what's wrong with his statement. Our allegations were very specific. It names the person who saw it, the time they saw it, the number of ballots they saw. I don't know how much more specific it could be. I can't explain that. I can't explain that any more than I can explain the media saying we don't have evidence when we have 400 or 500 affidavits under oath, specifically witnessing crimes that were committed in 5 or 6 different states in what is the biggest voter fraud scheme in the history of this country. They just, maybe they don't want to believe it. I don't know. The Democrats are lying. I don't know about the judges, why they shy away from the fact that the allegations are quite specific. The complaint is 30 pages long. I invite you to read it. It has the names of the people making the allegations. It tells you what they saw. It tells you that they saw ballots that were being forged. They saw ballots that were being counted 4 or 5 times the night that it happened. These are about as specific as allegations can get. So I don't know if it's an excuse to stay away from a hard case, or who knows. The reality is they're not going to get away with it because we can't do it in court. We'll do it in state legislatures. We're having a great deal of progress there. We had a hearing in Pennsylvania on Wednesday. I think we surprised a lot of people with the depth of corruption in Pennsylvania. We're going to have a meeting in Arizona. We're going to have one in Michigan. We're going to have one in Georgia. And in each one of those places, we have very, very substantial evidence of all different types of voter fraud, but primarily the cheating by using this new method of mail-in ballots. That was their primary way of cheating.
So on top of these meetings that you have set up, I also want to mention Jenna Ellis, who tweeted today that it's on to the Supreme Court. So can you tell us more about the legal plans ahead for this week as well?
Well, I mean, there are any number of cases that we can take to the Supreme Court. We have to decide which is the right one. There may even be one that hasn't been started yet, but will be started in the next day or two. That might be the right one. So there's a real strategy in how to get to the Supreme Court. Also, if we could get 1 or 2 of the legislatures to rule for us, then the Biden people would take it to the Supreme Court. So we may be there in two different capacities, as the appellant and as the appellee.
So basically, there's multiple paths to get to the Supreme Court, and then once it's possibly there, is there still a path for victory, or what's the game plan at that point?
Well, the game plan at that point is by that time you'll have proven your evidence. The evidence will show that there had been a massive fraud claim. Notice the Biden people have changed their tune. Their original tune was, oh, there was no fraud, no fraud, no fraud. Everything was clean. The election was the cleanest in history. Now their claim is, oh, there was some fraud, but it wasn't a lot. Pretty soon their claim is going to be, there was a massive amount of fraud, but elect Biden anyway. After all, you elected him after he took millions and millions from China. How much worse is it to fix an election than to take millions of dollars from the Chinese communists?
Yeah, it's still a developing situation, and these conversations are changing. Now, Mr. Giuliani, before I let you go, is there anything else you'd like to add?
But what I'd like to add is it's a tragedy what's going on with the American media. These facts should be known to the American people. The fact that there are that many affidavits of people who say he committed crimes in the way this fraud was taking place. They're very specific. They point out exactly how it was done. They say they saw the Democratic ballot counters stuffing the ballots in 4, 5, 6 times so that one vote could turn into 5 votes. When you look at the votes, they don't balance. There's every piece of evidence you could get of fraud is there. And this was a very big fraud carried out by the Democrat Party throughout the country. And that's how they got Biden elected. He did not get elected on honest votes. He got elected on a massive number of dishonest votes.
Mr. Giuliani, thank you so much for joining us this hour and discussing what's happened after this Pennsylvania situation. I want to thank you for coming on and telling all our viewers as well.
Thank you very much.